Hello everyone, it's been a hot minute since I last uploaded, but here I am, back again. Now this video is a little bit different compared to some of my previous videos because we're actually getting into some information regarding my actual real life experiences, and I'm gonna kind of explain what I've been up to lately as well. But anyways, around 3 months ago, I managed to land a job at a Canadian Best Buy location in my area, and it's been a wild ride to say the least. I joined their team with high hopes that I'd actually get to do something that I'd greatly enjoy. Specifically, I was placed in their computing solutions department, so I was selling computers, which was right up my alley and just part of what I wanted to offer to the store. And I figured I'd be a stellar fit for the team in that department. But let's just take a couple of steps back real quick. So before I started working at Best Buy, I actually worked at a Lawton's Drugs location nearby, which in and of itself wasn't really something that I was interested in and wasn't super stellar for my set of skills. And I could probably make a video about that store too, but at least I left there on fairly good terms as compared to Best Buy. The point is, I was tired of working in a drugstore and dealing with products that I had zero clue about, and one final, less than nice customer had set me off and exhausted me mentally. So I basically checked out of that job, and after my shift ended on that day, I got in the car and told my dad that I was sick of working there, and instead I got it in my mind that I wanted to go work at Best Buy, since I wanted to help people out by selling them the right types of computers for them and maybe even chill with my coworkers. So then I began my attempts at getting this new job at Best Buy. So now let me just be entirely honest here. My interview process was way different than how they'd normally go about it. Mainly because of some unfortunate circumstances that happened around the time that I applied. Normally they would just do 1 or 2 interviews, depending on how you went along the process. The first one, if you actually dropped off a paper copy to the store, would be sort of like an on-the-spot interview type of thing. And then after, they'd tell you to apply online too, because they made that part of their hiring process. And then you'd possibly get a second interview after applying online. In my case though, I ended up having to do 3 separate interviews, because the guy who did my second interview, the one that I ended up getting after I applied online, that guy ended up leaving the store. And during that mess, they ended up losing the information from my second interview, meaning I had to have a third interview. Honestly, it was kind of a nerve-wracking experience for me, mainly because I just wanted to get into this job really badly and do something that I actually wanted. But I did manage to secure a spot on their computing solutions team after a month or 2. Now, let me be honest, the first 2 weeks were highly stressful because I was just learning the ropes and I was exhibiting usual fresh face behavior, fresh initiate behavior, but regardless, I was still really stoked to be on the team. There's multiple things you have to learn to be able to work there, and I definitely tried my best, but I still had some work to do with getting there. And basically those things were that you needed to learn how to sell the protection plans, the recommended accessories, and also the Best Buy membership plans. You had to learn how to use the clipboard and the product recommendation sheets, which some parts I did admittedly use more than other parts. You had to learn how to pitch memberships and protection plans in a way which wouldn't allow the customer to say no to hearing about it. Otherwise, you would be causing a great disservice to customers if you don't shove the membership and protection plans down the customer's throats because they said no. Basically, you have to say it like, oh, let me tell you about these membership benefits, or oh, I'm going to explain to you how our protection plans work. Stuff like that. It was all about that membership mindset. Trapping the customers into paying almost $20 a month for a year, or $240 for an annual membership, and then they aren't able to cancel that membership if you went with a monthly payment. Unless you paid whatever the total of the yearly price you have left to pay, you will not be able to cancel it. Admittedly, it can be a useful tool to have that membership, but at the same time, the way that they kind of went about the payments for the memberships really rubbed me the wrong way. But let's move on. In addition to the memberships, protection plans, and accessories that you have to attempt to sell, as well as learning all the product recommendation sheets on your clipboard, they do a weekly check-in with their employees to see how they're doing, while simultaneously shoving goals down their throats that hopefully they will meet. Half of the things they were trying to get me to meet as of goals didn't really stick in my brain, and to this day, I can't tell you how I could have hit them. I was somehow expected to do better than most of my computing solutions counterparts, and one of their goals for me was for me to get over 30% membership attachment on a Best Buy membership. They formerly called that the Geek Squad Home membership, and there seems to be only 1 or 2 people in my department who actually met or exceeded those figures. And to expect me to learn about membership and be able to properly pitch it and get a good chunk of members within just a month of me being there seemed ludicrous to myself and a couple of other people in my store who I told this to. On the upside, I met a couple of super cool people there who made the whole thing worthwhile and fun. So shout out to you guys, because you guys were the main reason why I was actually excited to come in, especially near the end of my time working there. Best Buy, in Canada at least, is not commission-based whatsoever. So you have to deal with customers coming in who think you're trying to upsell them because a bunch of other stores who sell electronics are commission-based. And trying to get them to buy memberships and protection plans is also a difficult thing to do with people who don't want to hear a thing because it's useless or not necessary to them, and also because they think you're upselling them for your own profit. But overall, the point is, management found ways to make the job feel awful and not fun whatsoever, and I really began to dread coming in by about 3 to 4 weeks in. But I had great hopes for this job to work out, and I kept telling myself that I would get better with time, things would get better with time, and I would become a great employee and a great asset for them. Speaking of management, there was this one specific higher-up who for some reason loved to absolutely micromanage the hell out of me. Here's a fun little story for you guys. Best Buy goes over the top with their courses, with what I estimate to be a total of around 20 hours of combined mandatory courses for computing solutions alone. But it may be different amounts for other areas of the store, such as mobile or home theater or appliances. They have so many different courses that are completely optional to you that you can take if you wanted to get more familiar with specific products, such as Microsoft Surface tablets or laptops, or even Asus routers. Well, I have a nasty habit of being a procrastinator, so I never get these courses done while at home. So a couple of times they got me to do courses while I was on shift and help out in my department if it got overly busy. This particular person was in that day and decided to check in on me every 20 to 30 minutes. The thing is, I was seated over in appliances so that I could see my department and use a computer that allowed me to do my courses on it, and not have to go elsewhere in the store. So I was dealing with some customers coming over for appliances, and I would try to help the best I could in a department I was super unfamiliar with, to the point where even customers might have known more about the appliance they were getting than I did. And not just that, but Best Buy loves to incorporate videos into their courses, and the computer I was using in appliances didn't have any headphones, and they disabled the ability to go into the settings on these computers to connect Bluetooth devices. So I couldn't even use my AirPods. The problem is, I kept running into video after video after video without subtitles. So what I would do is I would stop the course and say I'd go back to it later. When I had access to sound, I would complete them then. And in that way, I could learn what they were talking about in the videos and not entirely have to skip those videos. But the micromanager didn't seem to like that, and they got mad at me for not finishing more courses. By the end of me doing courses on that shift, I'd only managed to complete 2 or 3 within 2 hours of me doing courses because I kept running into those videos without closed captioning. And they were not happy about that at all. But instead of getting mad at corporate for not adding subtitles, they decided to get mad at me because I didn't finish the courses. The micromanager got mad at me for wanting to read and watch all of the material in these courses and not skipping videos that didn't have captions. And because I didn't finish the courses, they were not understanding at all about the fact that I had no way to see or hear the information in those videos. Another time, that micromanager actually micromanaged me cleaning dust off of some air conditioner boxes. I kid you not. They kept an eye on me cleaning dust off of some boxes, and I was doing it slower so I wouldn't shred the paper towel which I had spritzed with Windex, as they told me, and so that I'd guarantee that I got a good chunk of dust off the boxes to make them look fresh and nice. But me taking an extra couple minutes to virtually clean this entire top of the box in a pretty much empty store was clearly unacceptable. So they straight up took over and cleaned the boxes after multiple comments of me being too nice on the box. The micromanager also seemed to be super nice to other coworkers, but not me, and was super micromanaging of me. He offered to give his credit card to my other coworker because she forgot her lunch on that particular day. Other than the micromanager, the rest of management was rather nice, and I got along with most of them very nicely as well. One of them even let you leave early if you didn't get to take your break, which I greatly appreciated on multiple occasions. They were pretty happy to help me close a sale or help me if I forgot how to say or do something, though to be honest, that one micromanager managed to destroy the entirety of my enthusiasm for the job in just a month of me working there. Great job, my friend. So if you couldn't tell by the way I've been phrasing some parts of the story, they did end up ditching me just as my 3 months finished. It threw me off a tiny bit because in the last week, and even before then, I felt like I was really getting better at my job and doing better with pitching their memberships, their protection plans, and even a couple of people I'd been talking to before then said that people in the store liked me, and one person even said that I knew more in some areas of computers than they did. That being said, I still have a little ways to go with learning about them, but I still knew a good chunk, as I'd been teaching myself about computers and their parts, as well as their problems, for nearly a decade. I wasn't exactly the greatest at pitching memberships still, but if they'd given me the chance, it would have came in time. But they decided that I wouldn't get that chance. Roughly 30 minutes into my shift today, as I'm making this video, the micromanager pulled me into the office, shut the door, and told me that they had to let me go. With all of that, this was a tough decision to make, talk, and everything was supposed to soften the blow, which honestly it kind of didn't. If anything, it felt more like cushioning a brick in a glove using feathers, but only putting a tiny bit of feathers in the glove. They had mentioned that when they let me go, that I had sold maybe 4 memberships since you'd started there. I feel like I sold 5 or 6 since I started, so they clearly haven't been keeping track of me. And I was still trying to find a way in which I could actually comfortably sell these memberships, but go off, sis. They said that while I was getting better at it, they had to still let me go regardless, which doesn't seem to make sense to me. If I'm getting better, why not give me the opportunity to be better, instead of shelving me just because I wasn't good enough for your expectations to start with? And on top of that, I'm pretty sure that they had an interview to replace me just as my shift was starting. Amazing. So, to put things into a nice little summary, I was stressed out of my mind because this job was essentially a balancing act since the very beginning of me basically trying to learn all of these different things and then trying not to get them mixed up with each other. And just because I wasn't on par with my other colleagues who just started a month or two before I did, they put me under more stress than I needed, to the point where I began having trouble getting up and doing things I greatly enjoyed outside of work, or even just getting out of bed. I dreaded coming in every day because it meant more expectations had to be met that I felt I would be incapable of meeting. And I was micromanaged to high heaven by one of my higher-ups, which completely destroyed my enthusiasm towards the job. Again, I have to say a massive thanks to all the kind friends I've made at Best Buy, because almost everyone there was super fun and easy to get along with and easy to be friends with. And those people who gave me a reason to actually come in to work with a smile most days were those nice and friendly people. Those people are the real MVPs, and I'm honestly gonna miss working with all of those lovely people. But, on the bright side, maybe it's for the better, considering the intense state of stress I was in during the last month or two of me working at Best Buy, for only 40 cents more than minimum wage. There's probably some stuff that I forgot to add, but mostly this is all I can think of as I'm making this video, and I've been wanting to do this for months. Thank you guys so much for listening to this video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.